into the new year, that topic, that was the original topic, and it's going to permeate this broadcast. And as usual, I have no notes, but I'm very pleased about something. Well, apart from it being the new year, a freshly turned page. No, let's be specific about something I've just noticed. Excuse me. Remember, you have the cough switch. I found the window of opportunity, the window of digital freedom. I can see the camera quality in this Google Hangouts, this live broadcast, is the best it has been for a long time. Why is that? And now, why is that? It's another time factor. The Americans, who I assume, maybe I'm wrong, let's say the Americans and perhaps the 9 hours ahead, the Southeast Asian nations, not including China, who are apparently, who I don't believe are able to connect to Google, at least not officially. I have all of the bandwidth. I have the monopoly. I have the freedom of the fiber optic, infinite information superhighway. Back to the title. The topic, which is not the topic I was going to cover in what would have been the previous broadcast. The last broadcast, the topic in question was comparing two literary genres. Well, one is a sub-genre, two genres. But I'm not going to go into that unless I run out of material. If I run out of material, I will take up that topic, which is, I don't like the area of sort of literary critique, literary analysis, because it's too difficult for me personally. I'm not very good at even describing my own stories. I need to pace myself. I'm going into the abstract, well, I say not abstract, wide, the broad area of artistic capital. Okay? And how people are screwed over, and I am guilty. Now, if I happen to take a break, I will show that I too am guilty of artistic theft. Not artistic theft, artistic property theft. That's it. Now, if I really I really want to have a mixer so I can I can have audio punctuation, audio effects. Now, when I got the right word, I want there to be a, when you the buzzer or something, when you get a point, when you get a question correct in a quiz show, I want that to sound. Now, I'll find that sound. I will search for it. Will I pay for it? Would I? I might. Or I might not. Topic, as I said, is creative property theft. Do you know the laws? Do I know the laws? Well, I can tell you what, even though I am, and I meant to tell you, okay. Excuse me. Regressing a little bit. I'm pleased about having this ability to actually show what's on the camera. And that's part of the reason I'm not the composition of this shot. This shot? Well, this shot is, which of course is copyrighted. It's the property of Google. it gives you all these possibilities. I have this camera. This is the second camera that I've bought. So how did I come up with this topic? From whence did it derive? It's the product of a few conversations I had. In one of them, I said something actually I would like to think is true of me personally. It's an ideal, it's a rule, a maxim, not necessarily something I can promise to follow. I've dabbled in the area of reproducing others' creative work. Isn't that otherwise called counterfeiting? But no, it's music. Oh, it's musical compositions, and there are these rules that if the artist has been dead or the artist wrote a song a certain number of years ago, well, that's how it was. I have some reason to believe that it's changed. But as far as I remember, up until recently, if an artist has written a song 50 odd years ago, it can be covered without you requiring any copyright. Is that right? Well, it's 80 years. But there are these things called cover bands. Every country has cover bands. Some have fewer, some have more. And also, it's dependent on stating the obvious. What the audience is, how affordable instruments are, how obtainable instruments are, whether there is a suitable infrastructure, whether there is a postal, or in the US you'd call it a mail service. Of course, I think it's very likely that there is a mail service in many countries. Look, thank you, Morning. Thank you for giving just the correct color light to bring out the blue in my t-shirt. Right. Rambling shall continue. So there are these cover bands, it's musicians of varying degrees of ability, covering songs because, well, it's playing songs that people know means you have an instant audience, an immediate audience. The songs are known. They will be into it, at least the majority will, or a large enough number. And you'll hopefully be have your group will be requested to return. You have something of a gig list. You will not find it difficult to find gigs. So I think it is more difficult in America. And some reasons why, well, I think it may become more difficult. What is my opinion on this? My opinion is developing. My opinion is somewhat aligned. Turning around, so I'm going to do something. I'm ingesting legal drugs. It's not a good idea. Kiss, as far as I know, have actually enacted. They have created, or they've enforced a piece of legislation which prohibits people, or should we say restricts people from performing their songs unless they pay them royalties. And I say, good. That's correct. Because radio stations have had to pay royalties to artists. Of course, as long as that's the song has been ridiculous rule, because the artist, of course, can be still alive, providing the songs have been written are newer than 50 or 60 years old, they pay royalties. I think that's the rule on the radio anyway. I don't believe it's the rule in shopping centres, elevators, and such. The realm where popular music, yeah, and I mean the popular music that you will consider to be cutting edge despite its age. The realm of popular music, rock and or hard rock and roll. The realm of popular music is in the Western popular music is in shopping centres, elevators, airports, food, dining outlets, bars, and wherever cover bands appear. Now, when I say the word cover band, I several images appear in my mind. One is very positive. It's rather positive. Glaringly talented musicians. Another one is the mediocre musician type of musician, rather, who can really be called a musician in quotation marks. Mediocre skills. Whether or not the skills are mediocre due to a lack of inherent talent, I know not. Both are in the same category because they are playing other people's music. They are really, how can I say, taking the soft option. They could write their own songs and risk people not wanting to hear them again. It would be a slow progress, so they don't. It may be that the get out clause is, well, not everyone is able to compose their own music. No, dear, dears. That is a lame and leprous excuse, and I tell you, I give many excuses. In my case, it's the exact opposite. I do not see learning popular music, learning pieces of popular music, rock and roll, in many cases, popular music that people will be more likely to enjoy, to know, to be able to enlist me as a member in a said cover or semi-cover band. The investment of time is really doesn't pay off. Doesn't pay off to me personally. Learning a piece of music you don't really enjoy feels wrong. It feels kind of filthy at times. The other night, the other morning, I was up until 7 in the morning learning a song, retracting from my position that learning these pieces of background music, they've become background music. The Eagles, I listened to the Eagles' Hotel California, and that's not the most interesting thing to me personally. As I was saying, that to learn these pieces of popular music is an investment of time. And I see people who only play other songs as participating. Excuse me, I'm going to regret saying this because I'm in the circle of these cover musicians. I admit, I play cover songs. I will do anything. I will sometimes go out of my way to get out of having my name put on a list or being dragged from the audience to play cover songs. I'm not exaggerating. There was one of the last nights out, what would have been one of the last nights out in the United Kingdom. I was asked by a musical friend who writes his own songs and tends to only perform his own songs, regardless of the fact he is mocked. And I turned up late. I made it. I suggested I would be a bit late, and I didn't want to be as late as possible, so I wouldn't be included in the coterie of cover musicians. One thing, and I'll admit this. I know I can play some cover songs, but I don't want to. I don't know. The cover songs I want to play, others will not know how to play. So yesterday evening, up until yesterday morning, I compromised. The power of the body, the mechanism of laziness that is something of a gold producing machine. Yes, okay, that's what the metaphor I'm going to use. It is a cash cow or something. It's a golden egg producing goose. It's a car that runs on nothing but water, a car that runs on nothing but purely ill intentions, good intentions. Right. I found something that should not have surprised me. But what I believe I found is the Mecca. I unwittingly discovered the Mecca. No, the Aladdin's cave of cover musicians. I found you out. I found out how you do it. Or at least today, how you do it. I found a YouTube channel that is not only has cover songs, it is there to it educates, shall we say, is educate the crowd. What? It almost forces you to learn. It teaches you in such a way that it's bordering on spoon feeding you these songs. Now, I'll be particular about what surprised me. Now, in cover musician land, there are certain monopolies. The monopolies depend on which instruments you play. For some strange reason, there are fewer bass players than guitarists. For some reason it's strange to me, because the bass guitar, as I understand it, if you just want to get out there, it's a very good option. It's a second least demanding instrument in rock. Okay, let's say the third, shall we? The first isn't actually the drums. The first can be the harmonica. You can blag playing the harmonica, even though there are many people who cannot play it. Second, apparently, I cannot play the drums. Drummers admit, because, well, that's a sort of simple communication that is natural to them. People who hit things as an area of expertise, hit objects. I suppose it can be called percussion. They will say that you can become a proficient drummer. Of course, excuse me, I'm going to edit that out. You can become a proficient drummer in in a weekend. Well, if they're a little more generous to themselves, in a week, you can join a band. If you learn the drums for a week. Now, during the morning, evening, leading very approximately to morning, the late night, the early morning, I was doing little research before I discovered the Mecca, the Aladdin's cave of cover musician. things. So I'm saying, okay, let's digress. Let's not digress. Okay, the fact there's a channel that is showing people how to play the bass, and as far as I can tell, simply the bass guitar. And they the YouTube channel creator is actually playing almost it's karaoke fashion. You'll see the tabs appearing on the screen. Though the songs are not the easiest to play, that's okay. Granted, some surprised me in the little technical nuances they have. I was learning. I was learning Hotel California by the Eagles. Yeah, I can admit it's a great song. The trickiest instrument in the group, amongst the parts for musicians, the bass part is the trickiest. It's the most interesting. It's the funnest. When I saw this, when I saw this isn't gin and tonic, by the way. I thought, here we are. I have the golden key, have the golden ticket to becoming one of the fraternity / sorority. I can't be part of a sorority, can I? But anyway, the grouping, the collective, the hive, the drone, the hive mind of cover musicians. How many use this? I don't know. How many bass guitarists use this? Probably all of them. Probably all of them. I could learn these songs without using this, but I'll be damn certain I'm going to use this service, this free service. They're providing music, the copyrighted music to us to learn, to perform. We can earn money performing the Eagles. How much money will the Eagles get for the songs that we may perform? We may get considerable amounts of money at times. Nothing. A clear zero. Nothing. I was I don't wish to say stalking, but bordering on stalking a rather yes, let's say a nice cover musician's work, and I found there were a couple of tutorials, and again and tabs were provided. And I realized that this is how easy drumming can be, and how it could be made as easy as it can be, as impossible to fail using these study materials it will become. And so where am I going with this? Are they? I don't think there's no malicious intent, but there's no disclaimer that this is. I know it should be. It's stating the obvious. This is copyrighted music. That they aren't trying to earn money from it, because they are. They're hoping to accrue some student, some kind of notoriety on the backs of people who put a lot more work into composing these pieces of music. And I'll say, composing music is difficult. And it's very difficult when you consider that the average musician, the average popular musician, is I'm not going to say they're lazy, but they can be particularly lazy when it comes to creating things. And it's far easier. Like it's a no failure strategy, a fail-proof strategy, I mean to say, to learn cover songs. So you YouTube. Let's forget the cover musicians, right? Let's look at YouTube. Do a search yourself for. Let's find something conventional. An odd kind of thing that people have been uploading. These get ready with me, or how morning/evening routine videos, or what I do in the daytime, or a day in my life. And what will you hear? You'll hear the same pieces. I guarantee very familiar. The pieces of music will become very familiar to you. One has many times 1,000 have simplistic ukulele compositions, and they're copyright-free pieces of music. But this cannot escape their notice, because it hasn't escaped mine. Please, we request that you at least write an acknowledgement to the artists and artists. How many do? Actually, I'll be fair, the person creating tutorials does give some kind of acknowledgement. It should be written clearly. This is copyrighted. It's copyrighted. When it isn't copyrighted, it should be mentioned that the music is given as a complimentary, and they should mention the artist to further their career, even in a tiny little bit of effort to write their name. They don't. It is theft. And members of Kiss, though I find your band, they may have been interesting in the past, be boring, actually to be a frightening thing to observe. You're right. You're arrogant people. You have excessively narcissistic, but you are right. And I implore other bands to do the same. Now, I don't think you should have to pay a lot if you're playing these covers, but you should. Let's think, how many songs would a cover band play? Say 30 songs, right? And let's put it into pounds and pence sterling, shall we? You have a currency converter. I don't think that 10 pence per song in royalties is excessive. It's a lot more than people will pay, which is nothing, illegally downloading them, and as well as legally downloading them with the free version of a service like Spotify. It is time to pay the pipers, people. I cannot mention this clearly, but I realise that the copyright that has the royalties that have been denied many of these artists. I don't wish to include the crimes, the ever so slight rule bending by cover musicians. They have been ripped off by recording companies, but no more. And I am pretty damn certain I have a pretty good feeling, and that's a sign that it's correct, right? I think it's very likely, we'll say, that this will come into being. And there will be could there be fewer cover bands? Or could maybe the cover bands will be a little more careful when it comes to the songs they perform or how often they perform. Maybe pub bands there'll be more originals bands appearing in pubs. Maybe, just maybe. So I'm going to say I wish to tell you exactly why I chose this topic, and I'll be clear about this. And I wish to rectify this. You see the image when you see the live broadcast. You see that piece of artwork. I don't remember where I found that from, but I'll tell you 100% certainty that I stole that piece of artwork, and I probably did acknowledge the creator of it somewhere. I wish to change it. I wish to get rid of it, but I don't know how to, and I don't feel very good about it, especially considering I'm a fine artist. I could create a piece of artwork. I could have that as my background, but cover musicians, cover artists. It was easier just to find it and put it as the background image than to scan some of my own artwork, to take a picture of it, to be exposed my artistic flaws or lack thereof. It's come on. I think it would be a decent thing to put some of my less well drawn sketches as the background image. I don't feel good about it. It was sort of something. It was a practical decision. Yeah, and cover musicians somehow seem to be practical people. Can artists be practical? Are the two mutually exclusive? I don't consider performing most cover songs to be art. I consider it to be emulation. I consider it to be emulation and the ability to show off a little bit, to accrue praise for presenting that which is not yours. I'll tell you what, I admit, I've performed cover songs many, many times. And I've performed my own compositions and others' collaborative pieces far less frequently. I'm guilty, and perhaps someday they'll find recordings of my live performances, and I may have to pay the piper. This has been very enjoyable. I'm going to stop this broadcast, and if I think of something else, I will, of course, press the record button again.